Hey.
Oh, then I have to say, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Bam.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. What about you?
Good, good. Doing as best as I can. Um,
Yeah.
it's snowing and dark here, and I'm used
Yes,
to
here too.
sunlight. Yeah. So we're in the
Mhm.
same place. So you're feeling very Canadian, I'm feeling very Danish.
Yes.
Um, so thank you so much for coming to talk to me for I Am the Comic Book. I am proudly wearing your comic. You can see it's still there a
Ah,
little bit.
yes. I love this project. It's such a I feel like you're always just being like, okay, comics, like what does everyone think is comics? And then you're like, well, blah blah blah. Now it's this thing, or like now it's this other thing. Like you always have like some new way of rethinking it, and it's like it's awesome to be part of that.
Yay! Yeah, I'm excited too. So I ask everyone the same four questions. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna start asking you. So the first question is sort of a little introduction of yourself. So who are you and how do we know each other, Teet?
yeah. Like so I'm like a comic book artist and I'm a witch, I would say, like a witchy comic book artist. It's like an Alan Moore thing, but just more feminist, I think.
What's the
Um,
word in Danish again? Vula, the Vikings? The Vula?
Vylve, yeah,
Vul, yeah.
I'm definitely not like I wouldn't I
Oh
think I'm
yeah,
not
of course.
I haven't worked to earn that title. Or maybe in some ways but everything is a little wishy-washy, so
Yeah,
I don't know. But I'm definitely a witch, yeah.
yeah.
And we know each other from the animation workshop in yeah, in Viborg in Denmark. Yeah, where Cecil was my teacher, and that was like how I first got to know this beautiful, weird brain, like
And
and
back at you, beautiful, brilliant brain, beautiful, brilliant artist.
Thank you. Yeah. So I feel like it's always just really, yeah, playful when we do stuff together.
Yeah, and I love that, like with many of the students from Tao, like I feel very, very lucky that some of them have bloomed into, post graduation into these
Mhm.
beautiful artistic friendships,
Yeah.
that we have, which is amazing. I feel very, very blessed with that.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. A
okay,
lot of
so
gratitude.
So, what did you think when I told you about the I Am the Comic Book project? You mentioned a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's just like, the same thing when you're like I feel this is my normal response to to your projects is always like, whoa, you can do that like and I've never thought about that, so it kind of opens new pathways, I feel. It's like we have these neuron pathways and the more you use them, the stronger they get. But then I feel what you often do is like, oh no, I'm not gonna use this normal one that I'm always using. I'm just gonna like create a new one. So that's that's always I like every birth is exciting and scary at the same time. So um but I feel because you just have these ideas and I feel like yeah, like you carry it very well, actually. So I'm never worried. Like I'm worried if I'm doing this new neuron pathway myself, but with you, I'm like, oh yeah, but Cecil is so great, so I'm just gonna jump on this train. Like it's not a problem.
that makes me really happy to hear because, for me, I think because I'm not a visual artist, but I love comics and I love storytelling and I love collaborating, like I'm
Mm.
always looking for how can we tell a story in a new way? What can we do? And, you know, the trouble is that like I can't just do it all myself. I can't be
Mm.
like, oh, I'll draw a comic and do it on my own arm. Or like
Mm.
I constantly have to seek collaboration. Sadly, sometimes that means I always have, I have to like seek money, which I
Mm.
don't have. So there are like a lot of projects that are just like on the floor that I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if I ever get rich,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
I'll pick up that idea. I mean, I think that's like for me, my main ambition to get super rich is just to make more cool art to collaborate and pay
Yeah,
people. You know what I mean? Like so we can
I
all
feel you.
eat.
Yeah.
But that makes me really happy. I love what you did. Like it's chapter 8, so you can see.
Hmm. Yeah, a little bit lift there.
Yeah, I mean it's this is now day 13, I think. So,
Yeah. Oh.
it's held on pretty well.
Yeah.
I was a little bit worried about, so my next question is for you is what did you think of uh, the prompt that I gave you, which I can't 100% remember what it is. Let me just look it up.
Yeah, that would be great because
Uh,
I also forgot.
hold on. I just published it. So it's a small creature nips at Maxie, showing them a pyramid in the distance. Perhaps there will be answers to what happened to any population that lived here.
Oh
Maxie
yeah.
sets off with hope in their heart. That was a hard one. I gave you that was super hard.
Oh yeah. It's knocking on my door. Can we hit pause? Would
Oh,
that be okay?
yeah. Hold on.
Sorry. Awesome.
Um,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I gave you kind of a complicated one
Mm.
because it's kind of actually difficult when you're because it's only 3 panels and I want to move the story along, but I can't have words and it's not like a regular page.
Mm.
And I got kind of stuck and I feel like I really threw you a difficult one.
Oh, actually, I felt it was just very nice and open, and but I also think I misunderstood it a little bit to start out with because I thought that I was supposed to come up with something like so. In that sense, I was happy to just yeah, just like get something because then I could just sometimes it's easier to like I don't know, yeah, when you draw like when someone else like already put some words down for you. So I felt like, oh, this is very nice. It's very open. I can really play with this. And yeah, I felt like it was really fun to be like, okay, how can I do it a little bit differently?
Yeah.
Because like it's also I think I often work with like my comic book pages are like very floaty somehow.
I'm going to show so that people can see
Yeah.
how complicated it was. And what I love is that it actually I was really nervous. I made you redraw it a little bit because I was really nervous because, like I keep saying, my skin is not paper. And so
Yeah.
when
Yeah, yeah.
people get really detailed, I get like a little bit worried with like,
Yeah.
um, so I got a little worried that it was going to be so complex, but actually, I mean, I think it turned out really, really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that first picture there.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I was happy when I saw that.
yeah, it really turned out like super good. And that made me really, really happy because, because it was so detailed. I wish you could have seen it in person.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but but yeah, but it was interesting because I think Scott before you as well also thought that he had to add something
Hmm.
to prompt the next artist, and then you
Yeah.
kind of like added something to it. I was like, oh my God, it's getting too
Yeah.
wild. So to the next artist,
Mm.
I was like, okay, here's a simple thing. And I was like, I was like, step it down.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise I felt like there would be too many elements to add, you know, um, onto the thing. And it felt like yours felt like a natural ending, because it was like, that she finds someone, there's like there's the pyramid, it's sort of
Mhm.
beckoning you in, and I felt like that was like a good portal to like a new place. So
Yeah.
kind of felt like chapter 8 was like a natural um ending to a segment. um
Yeah. Yeah.
And, which is kind of nice because since I'm planning on doing 24, that means it's sort of like, oh, right. So maybe eight is the store, that the sections. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of like a nice confluence.
You can, oh, you're doing 24? That's gonna be a really freaky Christmas calendar.
Yeah.
It's skin tattoo Christmas calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Isn't that like what they do in Denmark too? There's the Yule, maybe it's the Yule story, right? Isn't
Mhm.
that the
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Um, okay, so did you have any like troubles like when you were drawing it, like when I gave you the instruction to like take out some of the finer lines, which I think worked better because you made
Yeah,
them just like a little more bold, and I think
yeah.
that way the ink kind of could sink into my skin a little better.
No, I didn't think it was, but I thought to myself, well, you could have maybe thought this before, but sometimes it's difficult to make something like simple. Sometimes you just have to like run it through like another time. So I took out like a lot of details, and I mean it just reads better. Like
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and like I think what I liked is that like you added like the lady with the with her beautiful breasts and so that people can see
Mm.
you know and I like the way that you did the panel like where it's one panel but the comic is implied the sequential is oh sorry the sequential is implied by like the character moving
Yeah.
towards the pyramid,
Yeah.
and
It's
and
very
so
much my
yeah,
trademark.
and like I like the way that everybody is sort of fixing on that challenge in a different way,
Yeah.
um, confined by that space. And I do feel like there's a story coming along, but
Yeah.
it's difficult because it's a very abstract story, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it's hard to write. It's not like you know, it's a narrative, but it's like a very nuanced,
Yeah. Yeah, I
narrative.
feel you. And it's really fun to see how the different artists also go to it. Like you can really see people's character coming through
Yeah.
in all that. Hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think what's exciting too is that like, sometimes like if people know that I'm doing the project, they'll be like, "Oh, let me see." And then they'll ask to like see my arm. But there are a lot of people who like they just think I have like a big weird ugly tattoo on my arm on a background or something. Sometimes it's like a lot of people with sleeve tattoos when it's fresh, they'll be like,
Mm.
"Oh, let me see," like a bonding kind of thing. And then I tell them about the project and they're like, "Holy shit, that's really cool." Or
Yeah.
sometimes I see them because it's faded like this
Mm.
and they look and they're kind of like anybody, not just a person with tattoos, but they look and they're kind of like, oh dear Lord, like that person has a really ugly tattoo. And I'm like, oh, I noticed that you're looking at my tattoo. May I explain to you
Yeah, yeah,
what it
yeah.
is? And then and then they're like, okay. And then once I explain it, they're like, oh, that's really cool. Like,
Yeah.
so it's this like kind of constant uh project where I'm having to sort of introduce the project,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
people are encountering it who don't know what it is,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of interesting. And also it's like, here I am on chapter 8. I've been doing it since June, end of May,
Hmm.
June. Um, and it really is like an endurance project. It's like,
Hmm. Yeah.
you gotta like do the thing. Like, I still haven't done my mile walk, with your thing on it. And it's like -11 right now. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't want to do a walk.
Same
It's
temperature
cold.
here. Yeah. Oh, you need one of those like I have a huge these how can you say like a jumpsuit
Yeah.
that five-year olds here in Denmark,
Oh yeah, yeah,
they all
yeah,
have
yeah.
these, and I have like a grown-up
Snowsuit.
sized
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I do need one of those. I mean, I do have some good coats and my mom just passed and we had the same size shoes and I didn't have boots, so I inherited her boots, her winter boots. And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's the best inheritance I ever got in
Yeah, yeah,
like because
it's
a good pair of boots are there. It's a game changer, you know?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Super game changer. But I will do the walk. Don't worry. But your thing will be a little bit more faded
yeah,
than
yeah.
that. But okay, so my next question is where can people find you and what do you have coming up? Yeah, you didn't when you introduced yourself, you didn't even talk about your fabulous books.
Oh yes, yes. Like I'm in a like now I'm just being real here, but I'm in a bit of a burnout, so I'm not
That's
I'm not
art, man. That's
yeah,
art.
exactly. I'm not doing anything for I don't know. I think I'm gonna because it's been really tough to actually pay the bills.
Yeah,
So I need to just find some normal job for some time
yeah,
to just yeah, like figure it out, you know.
yeah.
And then I think because I've been doing a lot, I've been teaching at a an art school in Denmark, and I've been really, really nice. I've been teaching comics with some amazing students. Like it's, I love teaching and I would like to do it much more, but I've also been in Korea with like the
Hmm.
Danish National Museum, drawing some, yeah, how do you say, like live drawing comics there.
Hmm.
That's like sort of this year's stuff. But then on
Project.
this, yeah, exactly. I did you know, my graduation project with you that's out in Denmark. That it's this comic book about Alexander Dumas, and it's a bit on pause also because I can't find the money for it right now. So
Right.
the stuff that I'm doing is very much like these small weird drawings about life, and I got a lot of it. But it's just a little bit more scattered, and I like feel like it's a piece of life, slice of life kind of thing. And I think I might take some of these things and print them at Anadea and Erland's print
That
house,
sounds
just
like a
to
great idea. Yeah.
yeah, because I think I've been thinking for a long time, oh, if I need to put something out, it needs to be perfect and it needs to be so well worked through. But I think I'm learning that also connecting with the more witchy side actually, that I maybe I shouldn't control everything so much. Maybe I should just let it grow actually.
Well, it's interesting because, it gets messy, it fades, it deteriorates. Sometimes I put it on, I'm sweating, and so it
Yeah,
blurs or whatever. And I'm like, but that's part of art,
yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
like that's part of art is
Yeah.
messy. And remember, I'm gonna put my teacher hat
Mm,
on again.
do it.
Remember, like what I always say, and I say this to myself, and I say it to you, and I say it to anyone who's watching, is that a piece of art is just a document of where you were at that moment. And it
Yeah,
will never
true.
be finished. It will never be perfect. So you just have to let it go, take the lessons from it, and then make another piece of art. Like that,
Yeah,
you just have to keep folding it forwards.
it's so true. Yeah, that's well put into words. Like that's what I want to do.
Okay, and where can people find you on the internet? And if they're interested in your book, which was award winning, it wasn't it award nominated?
It was nominated for
Yeah,
a lot of nominations, and oh, actually, I've also been doing that's a thing. I did an album cover that's also I hope I win an award nominated now, so that's also exciting.
yeah.
Sometimes I do all these projects and I forget what did I actually do like, but I'm mostly on Instagram. That's
Yeah.
very very addicted to that
And
platform.
what's your handle there?
It's Thit Bitch, like just the weird A, and then ThitBitch. SCH. So it's spelled like that. Yeah.
Okay, Tit, I'm going to say goodbye now,
Yeah.
but stay on because I want to chat with you.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
And I love you. Thank you so much for being a
Yeah, I
part
love
of I
you.
Am the Comic Book Project. You are a brilliant artist, and I love collaborating with you. And I'm excited about our next collaboration that we're
Yeah,
doing.
me too. Mm, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.